They celebrated Pope Francis's life and service to the church, even though they had planned their Rome trip to celebrate the Jubilee of Teenagers and the canonization of Carlo Acutis. Thousands of teen groups descended onto the Vatican the weekend of April 25th after making long-arranged plans to be present for the ceremony welcoming the first millennial saint. The canonization was postponed as the church then prepared for a papal funeral. But across the board, the teens were grateful to be present to witness history together as their generation begins to shape the church's future.
As a teenager, you're always wondering, how is God represented in my life? And then you come here and you see all these people and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what it's really all about. It's about unity and just loving one another and being here.
Well, it means that the church is creating a place for young people, and I'm very grateful for it.
More than 80,000 teens from around the world registered to attend the Jubilee. No new date has yet been announced for the Acutis canonization, whose example inspired others to live a simple and courageous faith in a digital age. To hear more on this, we are joined now by Sabrina Farizi. Sabrina has been in Catholic journalism for more than 20 years, including as a reporter in Rome covering the Holy See. Today, she's a frequent contributor to the National Catholic Register and is author of Blessed Carlo Acutis, the amazing discovery of a teenager in heaven. Sabrina, thanks for being with us. I understand you were in Rome for what would have been Carlo Acutis' canonization week, but the Lord had other plans instead.
Yes.
Sabrina, tell us, what was it like to be there in the days following Pope Francis's death, surrounded by other Catholics who also share this devotion to Blessed Carlo?
So it was an interesting experience because I woke up the day after Easter. My flight was that day, and I discovered that Pope Francis had passed away. So it was really shocking and very sad. And then I discovered the canonization was suspended. And again, we all wondered in my family, what do we do? Do we go? Do we stay? And finally, I decided to go. I went with my daughter. We couldn't cancel our lodging. And I think this happened to a lot of people. And I said, you know, it's still Rome. It's still the Jubilee. And this is a historic moment. So I get to Rome and, you know, there was a real sadness because everywhere you went, there were images of Pope Francis, especially in the airport of Rome, that just said grazie, which means thank you. And so there was a real sadness that, you know, the chair of Peter was empty. But then I was surrounded by teenagers, and they were obviously pilgrims because they were all wearing crosses. They were wearing badges that said Jubileo, and they were so happy. And so everywhere I was going, you know, you just had this incredible sense of hope because they are the future of the church. And these kids were singing in the streets, laughing. I mean, you would think that our church was just made up of teenagers. So it was a wonderful week, really fun. It reminded me of, you know, World Youth Day, because I've been to several. And there was this real happiness and joy all around. It was wonderful, I have to say.
But Sabrina, obviously Catholics are eager to know when Carlo Acutis' canonization will be rescheduled. Have we heard anything from the Vatican yet about when that new date might be? And I know you were just at an event with Carlo's mother, Antonia. Did you learn any new information from her?
So yeah, last night she spoke in St. Patrick's Cathedral. I had a chance to meet with her ahead of time, and she told me that June 13th, the Vatican is going to make the announcement of the new date. She doesn't know the date. But some ideas were being thrown around the room. And so some people think it will be the canonization date will be August 3rd when Pier Giorgio Frassati will be canonized. But Antonia said, you know, we don't know. It could be September 26th or to the 28th, which would be the Jubileo, the Jubilee of Catechists, because Carlo was a catechist for 5 years before he passed away. And catechism was a very important thing in his life. So she said, we don't know. She's just as eager to find out as any of us. But June 13th, we're going to find out.
We'll be paying close attention to that announcement. Was there anything else that Antonia shared with you that you thought is worth sharing with our viewers?
You know, she spoke for 45 minutes to the crowd, which was at capacity in St. Patrick's Cathedral. She talked about the importance of knowing the faith. And how for Carlo would teach, I think he was an assistant confirmation teacher. And one of the things that always troubled him is that kids don't really know their faith. And so he was constantly trying to teach kids the faith. And, she said, this is so important that we continue this project, that young people have to know their faith. They have to know the basics. And this was also another reason why he created his website on Eucharistic miracles, because it was a way to draw people into one of the great sacraments of our church is the sacrament of the Eucharist. So really the importance of continuing this project of catechism.
That's a beautiful legacy.
People.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sabrina, Pope Leo will meet with cardinals in June to approve the canonizations of 5 beatified men and women. You were a longtime Vatican reporter. Do you anticipate those canonizations will take place during this Jubilee year as well?
Well, we hope so. Every time there's a canonization, it really draws people into the life of the church, and we get new holy heroes. We get new people to emulate. So I hope so. I hope so.
And you have reported for us at the National Catholic Register how there are a growing number of global projects and shrines all dedicated to Blessed Carlo.
Yes.
Why do you think Blessed Carlo Acutis resonates with so many people?
This is a great question. I think the reason is that people can relate to Carlo because he lived in our times. He dressed like teenagers today. He had jeans, he wore sunglasses, he had cool backpacks, but he also used technology. He was into tech. He knew how to code. And this is something that kids can relate to because today all of us, our lives are filled with technology. Carlo had a laptop. He had a cell phone. It wasn't a smartphone because in 2006 they didn't have smartphones yet, but it had the capacity for texting. He had a PlayStation. So he learned how to live holiness surrounded by technology, and that's something that all of us have to learn. And so he resonates not only with young people, but also with adults, because this is the world we have grown up with, and we're surrounded by technology. And he learned how to use it well, and that's something that we all have to learn.
Yeah. Just on a final note, Sabrina, extending on that thought, how might his witness of holiness bring more people to the faith here now in 2025?
You know, I think that, you know, his website is something that is really enticing to a lot of people. It's something that as kids are, you know, looking on websites for information about the faith, they can go to his website and learn about Eucharistic miracles around the world. One thing Antonia taught me is that one thing that they want to do as a family is continue to provide catechesis and formation. And this might be something that they are going to continue to do within the Carlo Acutis official website, because this is something that was so important to Carlo. And it's so easy to do. You just Google Carlo Acutis Eucharistic miracles and you will get the information. But in moving forward, they're going to be providing more and more catechesis.
That's really exciting to hear. You know, it's striking to me, Sabrina, the fact that this isn't the first delay he's encountered when it comes to his canonization. His beatification was also delayed because of the COVID pandemic.
Yes.
But we'll continue to, you know, keep listening for when that announcement will come from the Vatican. Sabrina, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good to be with you.